Hello everyone, welcome to GV Ready Automation World. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and enable notification for ongoing videos. There are a lot of videos, useful videos on automation. Please watch and enjoy. Today's topic is top 25 interview questions that are asked in different companies. I have noted down. We will go one by one. We'll quickly jump into questions. What is the Apache Maven? Basic thing. Alright, before going to Maven, suppose I will give you some introduction. What is Maven? Why we need to use the Maven? Suppose I don't know about the Maven. Then what we will do? Suppose you want to automate Selenium test cases. What are the requirements? Selenium automation. If you want to automate, we have to download. We have to create the project first of all. We have to maintain the structure. Where Java files need to keep, where XML files, where test data file, Excel, JSON, different files we will have, where to keep it, we have to maintain structure. Then dependencies. If you are working with Selenium, means we have to use the Selenium jar file, TestNG jar file, extend report, Cucumber means Cucumber jar files, we have to download manually. Those are all. We have to download manually all those things and keep it in our project. That is very difficult project. A difficult thing to do that. Manually. To overcome these problems, we will use the Maven. Maven will automatically provide the some structure and dependency management. It will provide automatically. Basic thing is this. Then we will go questions. Maven is a build automation project management tool. Build and project management tool, primarily used for Java projects. It will work for Java projects. It helps to manage the dependencies and the life cycle and the project configurations using XML file called POM.xml. In Maven project, POM.xml is the important file. We will see in further more about these things. This is the high level. It will project build and management tool. Then we will go one by one question. Then we will understand more. What are the key features? Dependency management. We no need to manually download and keep it in the project. Jar files, external jar files. Build automation. We can easily build the project. Life cycle. It will maintain the project life cycle and central repository support. We will see that. Consistent project structure. It will provide automatically a structure. We no need to worry about it. These are some of the features of the Maven. What is the purpose of POM.xml? What is POM? Is project object model. Is a core configuration file in a Maven project. It defines what it will define. We can have a project dependencies, plugins and goals, profiles, repositories, project information. This POM file will contain project dependencies, plugins and goals, build and profiles, repositories and project information. These are all things we will have. In further questions, we will learn more about this. What is build lifecycle? One of the important thing is build lifecycle. Clean. There is a clean the project. If you want to suppose whenever we will suppose Maven project means we have to, there are different phases are there, different life cycle. One is clean life cycle. Clean means what it will do? It will delete the target folder, classes file, already generated class files. It will freshly generate, delete it. Clean means it will delete already generated target folder. That means jar file. Already created target file, dot class files. These are all it will delete. Maven clean. Default, there is a default lifecycle. Default lifecycle means what? It will compile the project, it will execute the test cases, it will package the jar file. If you want to export our code as a jar file, we can do it, and it will install. Install means it will it will store in the local repository. We will see that in the next question. What is local repository? In the local repository. And site means if you want to generate the documentation for your project, based on this POM file, if you give MVN site, it will provide the detailed document about our project. There are mainly three lifecycle: clean, default, site. Then default clean will have different phases. Then default will different phases. Site have different phases. Mainly MVN clean. It will clean the project, install. It will compile and execute the test cases. It will build the jar file. It will install into local repository. Site means it will generate the documentation. What are Maven dependencies? Dependencies are the external libraries or jar file required for the project. Suppose we want to do automation or development, anything, we need a dependent on third-party libraries. Those things we will add in the POM.xml file under dependencies section. Under dependencies section, POM file will have some structure. One is the important dependencies. Under dependencies we will maintain the dependencies. For sample, just I will show you one thing. Suppose this is the Selenium4 Features. This is the Maven project. How to create Maven project quickly? Just go to new file, new, then go to other. Here we can Maven project, or search Maven project. It will come. Click on the Maven project. We click on the next. We can give the create. Just check the checkbox. Create a simple group ID. Group ID means a company name. Suppose I am working for a Google, com.google. Artifact ID means project name. Suppose I am Selenium practice. Just that's it. Click on the finish. Click on the finish. It will generate automatically structure SRC main Java, main resource, test Java, test resources. These are all will generate automatically. Then POM.xml. Important file is POM. What POM file? By default, it will not create anything. By default, just these above lines are generated. That's it. Now I want to automate the Selenium. We will under main is dependencies section. One is build section. Dependencies, under dependencies I want to automate the Selenium. Then we will add Selenium dependency, TestNG dependency. If you want to work with Excel, Apache POI, if you want to work with browser stack or some third-party cloud tools, whatever library, just we need to add dependencies. Then it will download automatically. See, under in the project Maven dependencies are there. See, these many are automatically downloaded. We don't need to worry about it. This is one thing, dependency. That are the dependencies, external jar file required for a project. What is the difference between compile, provided, runtime, test, and system scopes? Dependencies will have some scopes. Compile means default scope available at compile and runtime. That means suppose I am working with Selenium. If you are writing WebDriver, where the compile time itself we want to recognize that class, WebDriver interface and Chrome driver class. At the compile time itself, compile time we required, runtime also we required. Compile by default, if you don't give any scope, that is compile. Usually we will not give any scopes here. See, we will not give any scope tag. There is a scope is there. We can see scope. Here we can provide the by default compile. If you give or don't give compile. Here it has a compile, test, system, provider, runtime. Different compile. Usually we will not give anything. That's fine. By default is compile is fine for. But in interview purpose they will ask. Provided. Used when the dependency is provided by JDK or container. This is mostly useful for developers. They want to get external jars, JBoss server, from JBoss server, Tomcat server. If they want to get dependencies from there, they will use provided. If you give provided means it will search in the server. It will search in the either JDK or container. Runtime. Runtime is required only at runtime, not at compile time. Some of the jar files we don't require at runtime, compile time. We required while executing the program, runtime. In that case, we will give runtime. Test means available only during testing. Right? If you give the scope as a test, it will be required only in the testing phase, not in the development phase, only testing. System, similar to provided, but requires a manual. We have to download. Sometimes some of the jars we cannot, it will not get automatically downloaded from Maven repository. It will not download automatically. In that case, what we have to download manually, we have to keep it in our project. Then we will use this system, and then path, where is the jar. Those things we have to give. In that case, we have to give the system, similar to provided but requires manual jar inclusion. We have to download manually, keep it in our project. These are the different scopes are there in the Maven: compile, provided, runtime, test, system. Then what is the difference between Maven central repository, local repository, remote repository? Right. For this, just let me just okay. I will open just Paint to give the right. Suppose this is our project. This is our project. Suppose project in Eclipse or something. Okay. Then here it will be have a remote repository. Remote repository means Maven. This is a Maven repository from online. We will get from. Then we will have a in middle. We will have a local repository. In middle we will have a local repository. First time whenever I had a dependency tag. Whenever first time I added a, suppose this dependency, Selenium dependency. I have added this dependency in my project. Okay. Once we added, what will happen? It will verify in the local repository. Is it available in the local repository or not? If it is not available, if it is not available, then it will search in the Maven repository. It will download from the Maven repository to local repository. Then it will add to our project. Suppose some other project, you are using some other project, one more project, suppose here also same dependency you have added. Then what it will do, in same system you have created one more project, Selenium, same jar you have added. Then it will verify first repository. Okay, it is there in the repository. It will take from here itself. It will not go to Maven repository because it is already available in local repository. So it will fetch from local. If it is not there, then only it will go to Maven. It will download to local, then it to Eclipse. If it is already there in local repository, it will fetch from local repository itself. Where is local repository in our system? We can go to suppose C drive, users, go to your user. There will be a .m2 folder. There is a .m2 folder. Then there is a repository. Here, how to verify whether Selenium is available or not? What is the dependency we have to verify? org Selenium HQ Selenium. Org means first org folder. Then Selenium HQ, one more folder. Then Selenium, one more folder. Under Selenium, what to verify next? Selenium-Java. Selenium-Java. We have to verify where is Selenium-Java. Here, Selenium Java. Then what is the next version? We have to 4.26.0. Then 4.26. Version also important. For each version, it will verify 4.26.0. It will download. See here, Selenium Java jar. If you are changing jar means, again it will verify in the local repository. If it is there, that version, it will bring it from here. Otherwise, it will go to Maven repository, then it will. Sometimes what will happen due to restrictions, suppose if you are working on a banking project, they have a lot of restrictions. They will not allow to download from online. Then in that case what will do, they will create their own repository, company repository, like a Nexus. They will provide a Nexus repository. They will copy all the jars required for the project in the Nexus repository. Then it will get right from here to local repository, from the Nexus to local repository we will get. This is a remote, right, company own company repository they will create. Right, if you don't have any restriction, it will directly get from Maven repository, otherwise from company own repository. Right, like this it will have a different types of repository. Those are all the repositories. How does Maven handle dependency conflicts? Dependency conflicts. Right, suppose when we will get a dependency conflicts, Maven resolves conflicts using nearest dependency tree. Suppose first declared version in the dependency tree. How it will get is, suppose Selenium Java internally it will contain, right, Selenium will contain, suppose Selenium is contain internally, right, Chrome jar, Chrome dependency, Firefox, those are all. Then if we add Appium, suppose suppose it is also contain the driver jars, suppose, right, both are there in the same project. Suppose both are there in the same project. Now this is one version. Chrome Selenium has a different versions, Appium has different versions, right? Then we will get here conflict, right? Which version to take, which version to take from the both jars have, right, same jar files but different versions. Then which one we need to take, that is depends on first declared version in the dependency tree. First declared version in the dependency tree, or if multiple versions exist, the closest one to the project is selected. The closest one to the project is selected. Or we can override. Suppose if you want to override, we can override by using dependency management tag. Right, either any one of this it will. First declared version in the dependency tree, or if multiple versions exist, closest one. Or we can also override which one to use. Then what is Maven plugin? What is a Maven plugin? Maven plugin extend the build capabilities. Right, plugins are used to, right, it will extend the capabilities of the POM file. Build plugin, suppose compiler plugin, right, if you want to, right, I want to make sure my project is using Java 17, Java 8, Java 21, right, I want to make sure, right, then we will go for compiler plugin, right, we can make sure which version of Java should use my project, right, build plugin. Report plugin, right, if we add the report plugin, what it will happen, it will generate the report, Maven Surefire report plugin. Right, plugins are used to provide additional capabilities to our project. Alright, those are. What is the difference between dependency management and dependency stacks? Right, in the POM.xml we can have both, but dependencies define the actual dependencies of the project. Alright, dependency stack will have actual dependencies for the project. So dependency management only declares the versions without including dependency, typically used for multi-module project. Right, dependency management we will declare only versions, that is which version of jar file we need to use. Right, it will come in multi-module project, that means parent and child. Right, multi-module parent POM file will have all the common to, suppose multiple projects you are working, there will be parent POM. Child projects, what it will do, it will inherit what are the jars from the parent. Now suppose parent is providing one version, you want to override that, we can use a dependency management, which version we want to use for our project, right? In that case we can use this. How do you create a Maven project? Right, suppose if you want to create a Maven project from command prompt instead of Eclipse, right, any IDE, Eclipse or, right, NetBeans, IntelliJ, instead of that you want to create from the command prompt, we can give mvn command, archetype, we have archetype colon generate, we have to give the -d group id. What is the group id? Artifact id, group id, artifact id, and then archetype, Maven archetype. We have to give here artifact id and then -d arc archetype artifact ID, then -d interactive mode false. Three things here we had. One is archetype generate, group ID, artifact ID, archetype artifact ID, and then interactive. This is optional. Interactive mode we require while executing this command. Additionally, it will populate yes or no if you want that interactive mode or not. That's it. Right. Instead of this, we can give Eclipse. If you want to generate, we can generate like this from the command prompt. What is the purpose of MVN clean install command? What is the purpose of MVN clean? What it will delete the target directory and cleans the compiled file. That it will clean the target folder and cleans the compiled files in the project. Install, what it will do? It will compile the code. It will execute the test cases. It will do the packaging. That means it will generate the jar file and install in the local repository. It will install that jar file in the local repository. Right, compile install means these are all things it will do. It will compile the code, it will execute the test cases, it will package our project into jar file and install in the local repository. Clean means it will delete the target directory and cleans the compiled file. Right, we will have here a target. See, here we will have a target folder. Once you build the project, in the target folder we will get the jar file. It will delete all the jar file. Right, that is the clean. What is the difference between install and deploy? Difference between install and deploy. Install means what it will do? It will package the jar, right, for developer where file. Right, we no need to worry about actually right in automation. If you want, sometimes we want to generate a jar, so we can use that reusable jar in other projects. Right, how it will generate right on by default it will generate a jar. Right, whenever we will build the project, it will generate the jar, where it will generate in the local repository. MVN install, it will create the jar file and install into local repository. MVN deploy, what it will do, it will upload the whatever jar file generated into the remote repository. Right? Remote repository means actually our company repository, Nexus repository for sharing with the team. Suppose you want to generate a reusable jar file, some other team may can use that one. Right, how they will get it? Instead of manually sharing, we will right, push to the Nexus repository, company repository, then they will take from there another team. Right, deploy will upload to the remote repository. What are the Maven profiles? Right, Maven profiles. Suppose right, if you want to run test cases on the dev environment, QA environment, production environment with different configurations, right, then profiles will be useful whenever we want to run test cases on different environments or different browsers. I want to run it. Right, these profiles help. We can take it. Right, suppose profile. How you will declare profiles? Under profiles, profile we have to give the ID. Right, any ID we can give here, some unique name. Then property. Right, okay, environment variable we can development. Okay, anything we can give here. Environment is development. Activation by default, right, it is the default profile. Active by default means it is the default. If you don't give any profile, it will take automatically. Then QA profile, suppose profile, one more profile, ID QA, properties environment QA, and then profile production environment. Right, the active by default tag ensures that dev profile runs unless another profile is specified. Right, we'll see how to run. Then configure Maven Surefire plugin. Then in the build section, plugins, plugin, Maven Surefire plugin. Right, here we will take the environment. Right, from that to profiles. Right, here we will get which environment we want. Right, these profiles we have given some properties, right? These are visible within the POM file only, right? It will not visible to the code. These environment variable will not visible to code. It is visible within the POM file. If we want to make these variables are visible to code, then in the Maven Surefire plugin, under configuration system property variables, we will declare environment. Whatever environment we will pass, we will see that, right, dev qa, this passes environment variable dev qa prod to the test case. If you want to run the right unit test case, we will use this Surefire plugin. If you want to run regression test case, integration test cases, we will use Maven failsafe plugin. Right, usually these will do by developers. Right, for testing point of view, we will use from TestNG, we will do suite files and we will run it, right? But usually developers are more useful these profiles. Right, plugin, and then here we will give, right, what is the plugin, Maven's failsafe plugin. Failsafe plugin, we have to give the what is the id and goal verify. Here system environment variable, system property variables, environment. Right, how to run it now? Important thing, this is only configuration so far we have done. Right, if we want to run mvn clean test, right, default profile will execute. Default profile will execute. Then suppose I want to execute QA profile. What it will do? MVN profile clean test hyphen QA. Right, P means profile, hyphen P, which profile we want to run? QA. Right, if you want to run the production profile, MVN clean verify regression integration test cases. If you want to run MVN clean verify hyphen P prod. Right, like this profile hyphen P, we can give which profile, profile ID, we can give that profile will execute. If you want to load the profile specific configuration, we can create right, like this config hyphen dev properties, config hyphen qa, config hyphen prod. In the right, in while loading the property file, what you can do? You can get the environment variable. We can get the environment variable, and then you can read the particular file config hyphen which environment we are giving dynamically. That property file we can read it. Right. If you want to run on different browsers, right, different browsers, suppose how to create profile id Chrome, properties browser is Chrome, Firefox. Then while running we have to give mvn clean test hyphen p Chrome. Then we have to pass the environment variable d browser hyphen d browser equal to Chrome. We have to pass the profile and environment, then only this will be visible to Java. Otherwise this profile variable is not visible in the Java code. If you want to visible to Java code, then we will give hyphen d browser equal to Chrome. Then which profile we want to run? Hyphen d Chrome. Right, what is the summary? Define profiles in POM.xml for different environments. Use Maven Surefire plugin for unit test cases. Use Maven failsafe plugin for integration test case. Pass environment variable dynamically to test cases. How to pass the environment? Hyphen d browser equal to Chrome. These are dynamic environment variables. Load profile specific configuration files. Use profile for running different browsers. Right, profiles are used to set the different configuration for different environment, or if you want to run on different browsers. What is a transitive dependency in Maven? Transitive dependency in Maven. Right, suppose transitive dependency means if project A depends on project B. Right, project A depends on project B. Project B depends on project C. Right, A depends on B, B depends on C. Then automatically A gets the project, it depends on C. Automatically project A gets the project C dependency. Right, transitive dependencies means if A depends on B, B depends on C, automatically A also depends on C. Right, to control the transitive dependency, suppose to control it, right, A don't want a C dependency, then what we can do? In the dependency section, we can add in the dependency section we can add exclusions. That means group ID. What is the group ID? Artifact ID we have to provide exclude. That means it will exclude from this dependency, this jar file. right? We can exclude transitive dependency like this, exclusions. How does Maven handle versioning? Right, Maven has some versioning. Right, what is that? On top we will see here version. This one, versioning code. Right, basically these are all maintained by developers. Right, QA projects very less. Right, what they will do for snapshot means this is the development version. Currently, developers are doing modification. Snapshot version means. Then snapshot version means fixed release versions. One more is a release version, snapshot version, release version. Release versions means 1.0. Right, there is no snapshot hyphen. Suppose if you see uh, right, suppose if you see the repository, suppose Maven repository, right, we will see, we will take the Selenium, okay, Selenium, and we'll take the Selenium Java, right here, see, these are all released versions. Suppose snapshot version, this is the alpha version, beta version, we will call it as alpha, beta. These are all release version. Release version don't have, that means stable version. Release version means stable version. Alpha, beta or snapshots are development versions. There are still right, work is going on. Now here we have given a stable version, not the snapshot or released alpha, beta version. Always we have to use the released versions, not the snapshot versions. Right, fixed version means 1.0, 2.0, 2.1, like this. Snapshot version means we will give a hyphen snapshot, that is development version. Still development is going on. Once the development is done, they will remove the snapshot and release as a 1.0. Then next version will become 2.0 snapshot. Once the snapshot development is done, they will release 2.0, then they will make it as a 3.0. Right, like that it will go on. Version ranges, we can also give the ranges for developers, mostly will use, right, ranges also we can. What is the difference between snapshot and release version? Just now we have seen snapshot means development version that changes frequently, right? Suppose you are following agile methodology, right? Snapshot, right, we will give 1.0, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3 snapshots. Release version means stable version, right? That is used for production. Right, Maven downloads the latest snapshot version every time when you build the project, where release versions are fixed and won't change. Release versions are will not change, fixed and won't change. How do you skip the test cases? Suppose while running, I want to just build the project, I don't want to execute the test cases. Right, how you will do it? MVN clean install, we can give -d skip test. That means it will build the project, it will not execute the test cases. In Surefire plugin also, right, in the Maven Surefire plugin we can give here configuration skip test is true. Right, this is not the preferred way. We can send it from the command prompt itself dynamically. Right, what is the difference between Maven Surefire plugin failsafe plugin? Surefire plugin is used to run the unit test cases. Right, if you give the MVN test, it will run the our unit test cases. Failsafe plugin is used to run the integration test cases. We will run is a MVN verify. Right, then what are the some commonly used Maven plugins? Right, in the testing point of view, we will use compiler plugin, to compile the Java code. Maven Surefire plugin to run the test cases. Maven jar plugin to create the jar file. Where plugin, developers will use where plugin to package the where. Shaded plugin to create the fat jar with the dependencies. Right, sometimes we will also use shaded plugin to create the fat jar. Fat jar means what? Suppose I am doing fat jar for this my application Selenium, then it will also include internal. These are all dependency will include in the main jar. This Selenium4 feature jar, it will generate one Selenium4 feature jar. In that, it will also include, that is called the fat jar. Maven dependency plugins, right, manages the dependencies. Right, what is the purpose of MVN site command? Site command, what it will do, MVN site, It will generate the project documentation website using the information in the POM file. Based on the what the details we have given, based on this POM file, it will generate some HTML file. Right, whenever we will generate MVN site, then it will create the report like test coverage, dependency analysis, project details. It will generate. How can you configure multi-module project? Right, multi-module means parent and child. Right, we can create one parent module. Here we will give the parent module. Here packaging is POM. Right, mostly development project we will use. So sometimes testing project also. Right, suppose you have a common code, right? Common code for the Selenium. Suppose 10 projects are using same code. Instead of writing in all the projects Chrome driver initialization, XL reading, JSON reading, right? Common things we will keep under one project, one module. This module used by all the child projects. Right. In that case, we can create one child parent POM. Parent POM is packaging POM. It will include all the modules. Module 1, module 2, child POMs. Whenever we will build the parent POM, it will automatically build the child. Right, parent and multi-module project we can create. What is the difference between parent POM and dependency management? Suppose parent POM defines the common configurations and dependencies for the child modules. Right, parent POM means it will define the dependencies required for all the child. Sometimes what will happen, some child I don't want this version, I want one more version. Right, whatever parent provided I don't want, I want to change it. Then we can use a dependency management tag. In that we can declare only dependency version without including artifact ID. Right, those things we will not declare this group ID, artifact ID. Only version we will change, controlling the dependency version across the modules. Right, how do you force the Maven to update dependencies? Right, suppose already dependencies are there, I want to re-download it. Then MVN clean install -u. -u means it will force download, force update the again dependencies. How can you create executable jar using Maven? Executable jar. We have to use the plugin Maven jar plugin. In the plugins build plugin section, we will add plugin. And then what is the executable file? Executable file means what it will, right? We can execute the jar file, but it should have some main program. Jar file should have a main program. Right, here we can give manifest is what is the main class. Right, then while running, right, we can run java-jar. Right, where jar file will generate. First we have to do the MVN package, then it will generate the jar file. Then how to run that jar file? Java-jar target what is the jar file name. Otherwise we can give the path to the jar. Its jar should have a main class, otherwise it will not run. Right, jar should have executable jar means it should have a main program. You want to run some piece of code, then we can. What are the optional dependencies in Maven? Optional dependencies are not included in transitive. Right, what is transitive? Suppose if A is dependent on B, B is dependent on C. Right, C included automatically in the A project. Right, if you want to exclude that transitive dependencies, then we can have a optional equal to true, so that transitive dependencies will not add here. In this dependency, transitive dependencies will not add. Then what is the Maven assembly plugin? Maven assembly plugin. Right, Maven assembly plugin mostly will use by developers. Maven assembly plugin creates the custom distributable package like zip tar. Right, like how we will have a zip and a zip file, tar file. Like similarly, jar file contain all the jars, jar with dependencies. So what is the name, description? Just jar with dependencies. What it will do, it will assemble all the jar files inside a project. All the jar files, it will create one more jar file. How to execute it? MVN clean package. This output jar will include all the dependencies. Right, what are the different Maven repositories? We have already seen local repository. Local means where it will be in the C drive .m2 repository. Central repository is Maven, right? Public repository. Remote repository means our company repository or Nexus, right? Nexus repository, private repository for enterprise. These are the different questions we can expect on the Maven. Right. If you like my way of teaching and right content presentation, just subscribe to the channel. Right. If you have any queries or any suggestions, please feel free to comment in the comment section. Right. If you like the video, share to your friends. Just like the video. Thanks for watching.